policymakers are rethinking long-term dependence on oil and gas imports and reassessing the role that renewables can play in strengthening energy security. Costa Rica enters this period as a green success story as it shifts into higher value industries, moving beyond agriculture into medical devices and semiconductors. But as a small, open economy that still imports fuel for its transport sector and other industries, the question is, how does the nation protect its growth, competitiveness, and investor confidence in a more volatile world? Joining us now is Costa Rica's Minister of Foreign Trade, Manuel Tovar Rivera. Minister, thank you so much for being here again. Good to see you. Welcome back to CNA Studio.
Good to see you, Olivia, and happy to be here back in Singapore.
The last time you were here was late last year. The backdrop was so much different from then. 5 months later, we're faced with global and energy crisis that's really quite a shock to everyone. Is it a shock to you? And how is Costa Rica navigating this more volatile environment?
Well, we have to understand that global trade is a very vulnerable economic activity, subject to the impact of many disruptions from any color or flavor. Now we're facing the challenges over the Strait of Hormuz, which of course has a direct impact globally. In our case, we're fueled by refineries from the Gulf Coast in the United States, and we have secured our annual supply that covers not just insurance, but the margins of commercializing and freight. So directly, we don't have an impact in terms of shortage of fuel. We also produce our own electricity, mainly 98% from renewables. So we must say that on that side, we haven't had the hit. However, we live on one same globe, on one same planet. And what happens on this side of the world will have potentially and eventually an impact on our side of the world. When I speak about inflation, inflationary crisis, we will certainly see a less demand for Costa Rican products as prices increase elsewhere. As for our own domestic production, the import of inputs for production as well will have an impact, and also the flows of foreign direct investment. We have seen the projections from OECD, the IMF, putting downwards the perspectives of economic growth for this year between 1.5 to 2.5. So no one will be spared by it. Some economies, certainly, with more dependence on the oil and derivatives coming from the Gulf countries, will be hit the most. But no one will be spared by it.
No one is going to be spared by it. Obviously, there's cascading impact of the global energy shocks. But I'd like to zoom in on your initiative, of the Green Initiative. So most of your power generation in the country is through renewable sources. You have water, you have wind, you have geothermal.
And solar.
That's right. So my question is, how does that actually protect or insulate the whole ecosystem, especially the broader economy? How does your renewable sources of energy protect the economy?
Well, they play a major role in the type of industry that we attract. Costa Rica has succeeded in attracting foreign direct investment in advanced manufacturing. MedTech sector is just one of the most successful cases that we have seen, not just in Costa Rica, but in our region. Today, nearly 50% of our exports in goods to the world are medical devices. We export medical devices to Singapore. We export medical devices to Asia and the Pacific, to North America and Europe, and also the Middle East. But also, I'm here this week participating in a semiconductor gathering by the Singaporean Semiconductor Industry Association. And that's where Costa Rica is also trying to expand its footprint. So global companies that choose us as partners, they plug their machines into clean energies, and they contribute to mitigate the impact and reduce the carbon footprint. So that is the type of partnerships that we try to embrace. Responsible global citizens. It's a win-win situation. Companies come into business, but they also mitigate the impact and reduce the carbon footprint. So that is part of our selling pitch. So especially nowadays, as we see the evolution, the climate change, the tensions over the Hormuz trade, etc., that reaffirms that the path towards sustainability that we chose years ago is a recipe for success. And we will continue along those lines.
All right. So you're back here in Singapore. And for that agenda that you just mentioned, the last time you spoke to CNA, you were focusing on the FIT initiative, the
Absolutely.
Future of Investment and Trade, and your strategic links with Asia. How is it panning out so far?
Very good. If we see the numbers, data from Costa Rica from year 2025, we saw that Asia and the Pacific was the region that increased the most when it comes to our share in trade. 48% vis-a-vis last year. Is the fastest region, the fastest market for Costa Rican exports. We're not just talking about pineapple, coffee, bananas. We're talking about medical devices. We're talking about semiconductors. We're talking about knowledge-intensive services as cybersecurity, as software, as TICs. So we have a very robust and diversified export offer. And with Singapore, we have a growing partnership, not just within our bilateral engagement, but Costa Rica is within days of finally acceding into the CPTPP. And also under the FIT-P partnership, which was launched here in Singapore last month of November, a coalition of like-minded countries that want to uphold free and open trade, we have come together to continue advancing the rules-based system. So at the end of the day, it is small economies, open economies as Costa Rica, Singapore, the ones that will be hit the most by the erosion of the multilateral trading system. So we have to find solutions, alternatives to address and tackle those challenges. Business will not be carrying on as usual. We have to make lemonade with the lemons that we have. And we have to understand that we're living in a different world, whether we like it or not, whether we agree or not. So that is where we can come together through different schemes and forums of integration. CPTPP continues to drag the attention of many others. You've seen the European Union voicing out their interest to interact and engage with the CPTPP family. We've seen Indonesia, we've seen South Korea, Philippines, even Uruguay and the UAE. So that is what we're continuing to see, other schemes of integration for countries that rely on trade. We're trading nations. Singapore is a trading nation, Costa Rica is a trading nation, and the Asian and the Pacific countries are trading nations. So we must find a way to advance our agenda while we continue to devote efforts to strengthen the multilateral trading system.
Okay, maybe before you go, the last message you'd like to inform our audience. Small, open economies, trade-reliant economies, and we haven't seen the end of the tunnel with this global backdrop and headwinds. What would be your strategy going forward?
The strategy is to...
the most realistic.
Absolutely. Diversify. By diversifying, you mitigate the risks. We're very much integrated into the North American economy, and that will continue to be the case. But we understand that trade disruptions can come in many colors and flavors. So you must be ready to address any other trade disruptions. Today, we have the Hormuz crisis. We have had a COVID pandemic crisis. So if you diversify markets, if you diversify partners, that's a good way to go to address those type of disruptions. Diversification
as your key strategy to stay resilient.
Diversification is resilience.
In this volatile environment.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, Minister.